my champions, how are you all? I hope that you are doing so good. Well, I welcome you all to score 360 out of 360 in NEET Bio within 250 days series, and today will be a second class on human health and diseases, and we will be talking about few diseases like bacterial, viral and protozoan diseases. Well, I want to tell you one thing. Before starting this lecture, you need to have your paper as well as book and pen. Why? Because over here you will be learning lots and lots of scientific terms which you might find difficult to learn at one go, but surely you will learn it. That's my promise. Yeah. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's see why did we choose this chapter. So over the years, the number of questions have just increased. So if you see 4 questions have come in the last year, 4 into 3 is 12 marks. Sorry, 4 into 4 is basically 16 marks. Can you afford to lose it? No. Well, even if it's one question, then again it is giving you 4 marks definitely. But there has not been a year where the questions have not come from this chapter. So why should we take the risk? It's an important chapter. Let's read it. Now, what did we cover in our previous class? We spoke about this guy that is the mosquito. Okay, what mosquito is this? Just imagine, even though it's not that mosquito. But yes, the malarial mosquito, Anopheles, the female Anopheles mosquito is responsible for carrying, causing malaria. We saw how the mosquito is being framed for causing this disease, but actually there is someone else who is behind this whole plot. So you might have studied really well about life cycle of Plasmodium. I gave you the notes as well. Now, if you want the notes, you can join our WhatsApp channel. There we will be giving you all the PDF after every class, so that it becomes easy for you to understand and store your information as well. Going ahead, were you able to solve this question? And since we came to question, I want to take a name of one child, a student that I saw has been consistently answering a few questions now. Inchara is the name. So if you're watching this video, I want to tell you, I'm really proud of you for taking that effort to put down your answers over there, trying for yourself, and I'm sure that you will be able to crack even the difficult most exam that comes your way with that consistency that you are having. And it's also a good inspiration for all the other students who are left to try the questions, are very scared about starting off this particular thing in your life. Well, not be scared, take the first step, and then everything will come in its own way. Yeah. Now, motile zygote of Plasmodium occurs in, tell me, Plasmodium motile zygote, where does it occur? Gut of the female Anopheles, salivary glands of the Anopheles, human RBCs or human liver. This came in the year 2012. So basically what happens in the gut of the female Anopheles mosquito? So just imagine that this is the Anopheles mosquito that we are having. Okay, in the gut of it, basically the gametes will fuse. Okay, when gametes fuse, they form the zygote, and this zygote will develop into something motile, which you call as what? Ookinete. Well, this all happens in the gut itself, I told you, and then later this ookinete moves into the walls, okay, of the stomach walls, and sorry, yeah, and they go and reside there. After that, I say, when they go and reside into the walls, they form oocyst. This oocyst later breaks open and gives lots and lots of sporozoites. These sporozoites which are being formed, they move to the salivary gland of the mosquito. So from the gut, they travel to the gland, but again, there are so many stages being involved. So motile zygote of Plasmodium occurs in what? The gut of the female Anopheles mosquito, nowhere else. In the salivary glands of the Anopheles mosquito, you have something else which is known as sporozoite, which comes a lot later after the zygote is formed. I hope I helped you guys, and I'll just mark it so that you know the answer. Going ahead. Now let's start the diseases part of it. So diseases can be broadly classified into non-infectious and infectious, and as the name suggests, you might understand it really well. Non-infectious as in it is not spread. It is not spread through contaminated food or aerosols. No, it's not like that. So all of this thing comes under non-infectious. For example, diabetes. Take diabetes. Can diabetes be spread like that? If someone has diabetes and I drink a cup of coffee, I share the cup of coffee with them, will I have diabetes? No, It is non-infectious. Or probably someone who, some diabetic patient who had some food and I am eating that food, will I get diabetes? No. So similarly, even cancer is not infectious, okay. So basically diseases which won't be spread, diseases which are not spread from the infected person or basically from the diseased person to the others through any medium. Through any medium is considered to be non-infectious. Now, if you talk about infectious diseases, what comes in there? Diseases that can be spread like this, the speed of lightning. Basically, for example, someone has common cold. After 2 days, I might also have common cold because this is a disease that is spread through air, right? So these kind of diseases are what? Infectious diseases. Now, it can be airborne, it can be waterborne. For example, I drink water, okay, and this water has the bacteria for typhoid. I drink it, I also get it. You get it? So basically, infectious disease is something that will be where is it? Yeah, that will be spreading from what? The infected person, from the infected person to an healthy person. To a healthy person. Well, this is there in your NCERT. I just wanted to give you an idea of these things. Just a second, guys. I'm not able to see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's all about non-infectious and infectious. And now we are going to talk about infectious diseases. Right over here. Just give me a chance. Yes. Starting with typhoid. First, we will read the thing and then we will sort it out like this, where we will talking about causative agents, how it is spread, what are the symptoms and the diagnostic test. So you need to take care of all these points when I read this NCERT. Salmonella typhi is a pathogenic bacterium. So first thing that we got to know is that typhoid is caused by a bacterium, okay, and this bacterium's name is what? Salmonella typhi. Bacterium means one bacteria. That is what you mean, but we generally say bacteria. Bacteria is a plural word. This is a singular form, okay. So the name of that guy is what? Salmonella typhi, which causes typhoid fever in human beings. These pathogens generally enter the small intestine, okay, through the food and water. Okay, so now we know how it is spread through food and water contaminated with them and migrate to other organs through the blood. So basically it is affecting it is entering the small intestine through what? Through the food and water that we have, and it is spread across different organs via the blood. Now, sustained high fever, that is 39 to 40 degrees Celsius, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, loss of appetite are some of the commonest symptoms of these diseases. Intestinal perforation, as in there could be perforations or holes in the intestine as well, and death may also occur in severe cases. Typhoid fever could be confirmed by Vidal test. Now, this is how we need to learn things. Guys, what is a causative agent? Is it a bacteria, virus or something else? It is a bacteria, which is why I wrote bacterial disease. Now, causative agent's name is what? Write with me. Salmonella. What is it? Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. Typhi word comes from this, okay? Salmonella typhi. Now, you can remember salmon is fish, right? People eat fish, fish is a food. So basically through food and water only it is spread. So basically next thing will be what? Contaminated food and water. Now, talking about symptoms, the first thing that you need to know, I thought of making a story up of it. First thing, imagine someone has constipation. Now, when someone has constipation, obviously motion is not going, so they won't be able to eat more food, so loss of appetite will be there. Appetite will be there. Yeah, the spelling, please check. Okay, there are two P's. appetite. I mess up with the spellings most of the time. I still have to check the spelling. Anyways, constipation. So someone is constipated, motion is not going, which is why they're not feeling to eat more food. So loss of appetite is there. Then stomach will pain, no? Nothing is going on, stomach will pain. So stomach ache, so not stomach pain, it will be stomach ache. Stomach ache will be there, and obviously after all these things you will be, there are chances that you might get fever also. Now if you get fever, you will feel weakness. You will feel what? Weakness. And how much is the degree for the fever? It could be 39 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, and it's a sustained fever. It stays like that. Okay, so these are the things that you need to remember for the symptoms. First thing, constipation. Then loss of appetite. You're not feeling to eat food. Obviously, how will you eat food? Now, if you're not feeling to eat food and constipation is there, stomach might pain. Okay, so stomach ache is there. And then after all this thing, obviously you will feel irritated. You could have fever. Agree? Because of the fever, you might have weakness. Agree? The fever could be a sustained fever for 39 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now, at grave cases, there are chances that during very critical stages, there will be intestinal perforation. As in, there will be holes made up in your intestine. That could also happen, and it could even turn out to be fatal. We could even die. Okay, with this thing that is mentioned over here, intestinal perforation, we understand one very important thing, that which is the organ that is majorly affected because of this thing. Affected organ, I have to make one more column. Affected organ is what? Starting with, we definitely start with what? The small intestine, and then it could go to other organs as well via the blood. Now, is it easy to remember? It will be easy to remember, I am telling you. Now, the diagnostic test for this is, there is only one test that you need to remember as of now. It is Vidal. For no other diseases, they have given the test name. I think for AIDS also they have, obviously. Apart from that, there is, and for cancer also, but that is again not something that is infectious. So, Vidal test is there for testing what? Whether this bacteria is there in your body or not. Okay, agreed. Now, let's revise. Causative agent is what? Children, a bacteria. What is the name of the bacteria? Salmonella typhi. Now, Salmonella typhi, salmon word is there, that means there is something to do with food. So, this particular disease is basically got by contaminated food and water. Now, symptoms, it could be constipation. If constipation is there, loss of appetite and stomach ache, and then fever, and then weakness, and then headache also is there. Okay, and 39 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius is the sustained fever's degree. Now, if we go ahead, if it could be more grave, it could be more bad, and starts up having intestinal perforation, and also it could turn out to be fatal. Okay, well, since intestinal perforation is there, that means the affected organ is majorly the small intestine, but still it can affect the other organs as well while traveling to the blood. Now, basically the diagnostic tool is one thing that we have, that is Vidal test. Done? That is about typhoid. Let's see what if we are missing out anything. Loss of appetite, weakness, stomach, common symptoms, nothing else, right? Nothing else is there. Okay. So, what do I mean by contaminated food and water? Basically, now this particular bacteria is there in the small intestine. That means it will be mixing up with the stool as well, which will be going out. So, when a person goes to washroom for number 2, okay. So, basically at this point of time, the bacteria will be moving along with the stool. Now, it's there in the stool. It's there in the stool. Just imagine that this stool is contaminating the water bodies or anything around there. Okay, and that water we somehow drink it without boiling. So that is why we say, obviously we do not go and catch water like that, but somewhere through the pipes and all these water could come. It could give you a disease. Second thing, a person has gone to washroom, didn't wash their hands. Okay, after going for number 2, didn't wash their hands. Okay, then what will happen? Again, with their hand, they are giving you food or mixing. So, it sounds gross for obvious reasons, but this is how it is spread, and this is the actual scenario, which is why we say, people definitely say, do not eat pani puri from here and there. It should be very hygienic. People should wash their hands. What is the root cause of all this? This is the thing. And if you think that I am joking around, please listen to me. There was a lady whose name was Mary Mallon. What is her name? Her name is Mary Mallon. She is known as, very famously known as, Typhoid Mary. Now she was a cook. And she was asymptomatic. She had typhoid, but she didn't show any symptom of it. Okay, so as of now, she might be a cook, she might not be properly taking care of the hygiene. And obviously, when you are a cook, you will be preparing the food with the same hands. And this particular food, when given to other people, they are also getting typhoid. But they showed symptoms regarding that. And now, if your question is why Typhoid Mary didn't show symptoms, probably she might have got immune to it. There are certain cases like that as well, and there is asymptomatic typhoid as well. Okay, so basically this is how she kept on spreading until one day it came to her knowledge that this is the actual case, because a lot of people coming to over here where to have food are getting diseased. Okay, so this is our reminder to wash our hands properly before having food and also after going to washroom. Okay, so that is all about typhoid, children. Now something very similar to typhoid is cholera. Okay, it is not given in your NCERT textbook, but yes, as it is very similar, so why not? And also questions have come, so we should be knowing. The causative agent is again a bacteria. All the diseases that I am going to talk now is bacterial disease. Okay, the name is Vibrio cholerae. Okay, the name is Vibrio cholerae, Vibrio as in comma shaped. Now it is also spread to the same thing, contaminated food and water. Now something that is very much important regarding the symptoms of cholera is the people who are having cholera, they will show a very grave symptom that is rice water stool will be there. It will be like rice water, that much loose the motion will be there. Okay, so again, this is again something gross, but it happens. These are all diseases and we are all human beings. We are only ones who are getting all these diseases. So why to be ashamed of? Okay, so these are diseases. Again, what do you need to do? Wash your hands. So all these diseases that you see over here, they are spread through fecal-oral route. Fecal-oral route. So feces as in the potty. Okay, now oral as in your mouth. So food being spread because of the feces is being excreted, which is having the bacteria, mixes with the food and water, and again you have that particular food. So this is why it is known as fecal-oral route. Okay, and please remember this particular thing, rice water stool. This is very important. These people have diarrhea and this is the condition of it. And the causative agent is Vibrio cholerae and it is spread through contaminated food and water. Both of them are kind of similar itself. Going ahead, let's solve some PYQ. Let's see. I gave you PYQ. Identify the correct pair representing the causative agent of typhoid fever and the confirmatory test for typhoid. So we know right now that without even seeing the other options, the Salmonella typhi is basically causing typhoid and the test is Vidal test. This came in NEET 2019. Can you expect an easier question than this? No. Well, children, if you're getting your answers correct, let me know in the comments. Ma'am, I got the answers correct. I'll be more than happy to see that. Now, going ahead with pneumonia, I have written that pneumonia is a bacterial disease according to your NCERT, but yes, pneumonia can be caused by viral agents as well. Okay, but let's stick to our NCERT and learn the examples. So, bacteria like Streptococcus, coccus as in drowned, okay, Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae. So, there are two causative agents, Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae, are responsible for the disease pneumonia in humans, which infects what? The alveoli, that is air-filled sacs of the lungs. So it is going to infect the lungs, and where in the lungs, children? Alveoli. What do you mean by alveoli? So just assume that this is the lungs. Okay. You know trachea. It breaks down into bronchi. Bronchi breaks down into bronchioles, primary, secondary, tertiary, lot of them. Okay. And then towards the end you see some sacs like this, which you call as what? Alveoli. So basically when we breathe in, I am making in blue, okay? The oxygenated air comes in, goes to each alveoli, yeah, and the alveoli are richly supplied with blood vessels. So oxygen from the lungs goes to these blood vessels, and now this oxygenated blood is getting carried to our heart, which pumps to all different parts of our body. Now if alveoli is filled with some water or mucus or anything, do you think that this particular process can happen? Diffusion of oxygen can happen? No, which is why people will feel breathless when they have pneumonia, because oxygen is not getting transported to our body parts, even though we are taking it inside, but still this diffusion is not taking place. So where does this affect children? Again I am telling you, it's in the lungs, and where especially in the lungs, it is the alveoli, which are air filled sacs. Okay, going ahead. Okay, as a result of the infection, the alveoli gets filled with fluid, leading to severe problems in respiration. The symptoms of pneumonia include fever, chills, cough and headache. So you can remember these things as, first thing, you have cough, you have cough. Now whenever you have cough, you have headache. Whenever you have headache, there are chances that you could get fever as well, and whenever you have fever, you could have chills. So this is the case for pneumonia. Okay, we have 4 symptoms to remember. In severe cases, the lips and the fingernails may turn grey to bluish in color. This is again a very important symptom that you need to remember. Why do the lips and the nails, they turn grey to bluish in color? Because they are not getting enough amount of oxygen. So when we do not get enough amount of oxygen, that's how our bodily structure becomes. The color of our nails and everything, and slowly the skin also changes, but yes, majorly the lips and the fingertips, the nails of fingernails may turn grey to bluish in color. A healthy person acquire the infection. How what is the causative, like how does it spread? Okay, by inhaling the droplets or aerosols released by an infected person. So for example, other person has, so I could get it if I am inhaling the aerosols. For example, other person sneezes and all the aerosols spread around and the bacterium is there and there. So obviously I could, when I take a breath, I could also get this thing. Okay, so yes, that is there. Or even by sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. So for example, I sneezed, and now after sneezing I touch this. Now the next teacher who comes this and touches this, and then she probably makes contact with eyes, nose, nothing like that. Basically during this particular mode, there are high chances for this particular bacterium to travel into her respiratory system and cause the disease. Okay, so which is why we should be sanitizing everything properly. Now dysentery, okay. Dysentery, plague, diphtheria, etc., some of the other bacterial diseases. With this we are ending the bacterial diseases, but as I said, we have to go a bit out of box of NCERT and we have to learn a lot of diseases, but let's just sum up all this thing and then we'll go ahead. So causative agent, children, tell me what was the name? Round thing, coccus. Okay, what coccus? Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus pneumoniae. Next one, Haemophilus influenzae. Okay, Staphylococcus pneumoniae or Haemophilus influenzae. These are the 2 causative agents for pneumonia, bacterial sources. Okay, how does it spread, children? It is spread through aerosol droplets, when you sneeze or something like that, or when you touch the utensils or anything. Okay, infected utensil, as in the utensil is not infected, but it has the all the bacteria lingering around it. Okay, now what is the affected organ, children? Obviously, as you know, it is the lungs. And where in the lungs? Alveoli, which is the place where diffusion of oxygen takes place from the lungs to the blood vessels. What are the symptoms? I told you, let's start with cough. When you have cough, you have headache. When you have headache, you might have fever. When you have fever, you might have chills. Now, what is that symptom which goes a bit extra when you do not take care of anything? Your lips and fingernails turns grey to bluish in color. Grey to bluish in color. Fine? Is it okay? That is all about pneumonia. I think, yes, that's all. Okay, well, apart from pneumonia, there are so many other diseases, bacterial diseases. So as of now, we have studied about 3 bacterial diseases. One is typhoid caused by Salmonella typhi, cholera caused by Vibrio cholerae, and pneumonia caused by Staphylococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenzae. Ma'am, how will we be able to learn it? Well, I can give you mnemonics, but mnemonics won't help you because there are complicated names. So I want you to write it and learn. Even, do you think that I know all the names? I can remember forever? No. I can show you right now. I can show you right now how many times probably even I might have written it. If you can possibly see, even I wrote it so many times to remember, okay, I should not be making spelling mistake when I am teaching you, right? So obviously this is how we learn. So yes, it's not like you are not capable of anything, you have to try for that, that's all. Now, going ahead, these are the other sets of bacterial diseases. Now, what all is given in your book? This is given in your book. This you should be knowing because it comes in our NEET examination. So, diphtheria is again a disease which causes trouble in your throat as well as lower regions of respiratory tract, and this, it will form a grey membrane inside such that a person who is trying to breathe won't be able to breathe properly. Okay, so that is a problem, and it is caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Corynebacterium diphtheriae. You can break things and try to learn it if it works like that. Okay, as I said, in this particular disease, it becomes difficult for a person to breathe. Okay, going ahead, plague, you might have heard about it in Europe and all. This plague was spread very rapidly during older times, right? And this is basically caused by a bacterium which is known as Yersinia pestis, and there is a flea which is responsible for spreading it around. Okay, so basically just imagine that a rat is infected with this particular bacteria, that is Yersinia pestis. Now a flea comes and bites this particular rat, and that same flea comes and bites us. We will get this particular disease. Now what exactly happens in plague, I'll tell you. So wherever I can remember things, I'll just write. Breathing issue will be there. It affects the throat. Now over here, when you talk about Yersinia pestis, what happens? I'll tell you what happens. So basically, as I said, this flea will come and bite us, and then we'll get this disease. When we get this disease, the lymph nodes, there are lymph nodes, okay, over here. So basically, these lymph nodes are area where there are so many white blood cells who is responsible for fighting against diseases. So for example, some pathogens could get inside our bloodstream, but somehow manage to not get caught, and then they get into lymphatic system. Okay, that is another system. The blood vessels that you see normally, that is another lymphatic blood vessels or something else. Now in the lymph, when they get in, okay, there are certain areas where all the pulleys stands like this, and they are caught there itself. So these areas are known as lymph nodes, which are richly supplied with lymphocytes, basically the white blood cells. Okay, so what happens at this point of time? These lymph nodes get swollen. In this particular disease, they mess up with the lymph nodes and they get swollen, and slowly they will be showing a black color appearance, which is why it was known as Black Death. So many people were getting killed because of the same thing. Okay, so Yersinia pestis, in this lymph node gets swollen. Okay, and it is spread through a flea. It is spread through a flea, and what do you call this flea as? You call this particular flea as what? Xenopsella, as far as I remember. Yes, it is known as Xenopsella. Yeah. Going ahead, dysentery. Dysentery is caused by multiple bacteria. It can be either E. coli, it can be Shigella. Okay, and what happens in dysentery, children? In dysentery, no, there will be loose motion itself, but along with that there will be mucus and blood. Okay, there will be mucus and blood. So, I am writing in red only, mucus and blood will be there in dysentery along with loose motion. So, these are the things that is there in your NCERT, but they have not given the name, but we have to remember the name because in MCQs it has come. Now again, how can you remember this? Just like how your math, try to remember, write it and learn it. You will be able to get it. Okay. Now one very important thing, there was a vaccine for diphtheria and dysentery, diphtheria, tetanus and pertussis. I forgot the name. Okay, the name, the vaccine's name is DPT. Pertussis. I forgot. Okay, it is whooping cough. So basically DPT, that is tetanus, diphtheria and that pertussis, I forgot, whooping cough. Basically all of them have a vaccine which is given when children are born. Okay. So for treating this, for preventing this, we have DPT vaccine. Please remember it. It's again a area from where the question has come. Okay. Now going ahead with tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculae. Okay, and leprosy is again caused by Mycobacterium only, so I will write it here. Mycobacterium leprae. Okay, just put AE word at the end. So Mycobacterium tuberculae and Mycobacterium leprae, okay, is the one that causes tuberculosis and leprosy. In the case of leprosy, it affects the skin and the membranes in there. Okay, the skin as well as the membranes, the muscles and membranes in there. Whereas in the case of tuberculosis, it will be affecting the lungs. Okay, and in the case of tetanus, not testis. Teacher taught human reproduction a lot, such that testis and all is coming. So basically, tetanus is caused by Clostridium tetani. Okay, and this messes up with our nervous system. It's very dangerous. Nervous system. Cool. Will you be able to read this? It is Yersinia pestis. Okay, this is E. coli and Shigella, Mycobacterium tuberculae, Clostridium tetani. Okay, this is E, this is tetani. Nervous system, Mycobacterium leprae, and that causes difficulties in the skin and the membranes. Okay, I hope this much is clear. We have to anyway try to remember, there is no other option. Let's try to hide this and remember it once. Starting with tuberculosis. Tuberculosis and leprosy is caused by the initial name the same, that is Mycobacterium. One is tuberculae and the other one is leprae. Cool, that is done. Going ahead, we have three of them given in our NCERT textbook itself: dysentery, diphtheria and plague. Plague is caused by Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis. Okay, dysentery is caused by any random bacteria, E. coli, Shigella, anything. Okay. Now we talk about diphtheria. Diphtheria is caused with the help of, I forgot, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. So look, don't you find a student in me as well? So when you as a teacher, just you imagine, there are so many things to remember. Obviously, it's not possible to remember each and everything every time it happens, right? So this could happen with you as well. For that, you need constant revision. Yeah. So yes, So Corynebacterium is the one that causes, Corynebacterium diphtheriae is the one that causes diphtheria. That's done. So we are done with three diseases: tuberculosis and leprosy. Apart from that, there is tetanus, that is caused by Clostridium tetani. Okay, Clostridium tetani. That's all. That's all. Okay, 1 to 3, and then 3 things that we studied before. Total 9. Okay, what was it? Pneumonia, and then cholera, and then typhoid. Then going ahead, what do we have? Can you, okay, don't take a screenshot. I will give you anyways this particular thing, so you can take it from there. Please remember DPT, basically diphtheria, not DPT, diphtheria is prevented by DPT vaccine. So here P stands for pertussis, I don't remember, and T stands for tetanus. Well, P, whatever disease is, it is also known as whooping cough. Okay, you can remember like that. So that's all, children. let's go ahead. Which of the following sets of diseases caused by bacteria? Now you tell me. Cholera, tetanus, typhoid and smallpox, tetanus and mumps, herpes and influenza. You didn't even study all this thing. Smallpox you didn't study, mumps you didn't study, influenza. Herpes is caused by virus. We studied in the previous chapter, that is reproductive health. What was the name of the virus? What was the name of the virus? Tell me. And then cholera and tetanus is also there. Okay, so please remember this. This is very much important. As I said, something out of the box has come. This and both the terms are not there in your NCERT, and if you're not able to remember it, it will be a big problem to you. Okay, when you're talking about herpes, when you're talking about genital warts, remember the name. Human human papilloma virus is causing this, or genital warts, whatever it is caused by HIV, whatever comes through your way, please remember the name. Even syphilis, the bacterial disease, the bacterial sexually transmitted disease, gonorrhea, and all these things have to be remembered. You make a list of things and then just sort it out. Say that these are the diseases that are sexually transmitted, these are diseases which is airborne or waterborne or whatever is there. Okay. Now going ahead, many viruses also cause diseases in human beings. Rhinoviruses represent one such group of viruses. So rhinovirus that you see over here, they are a group of viruses which cause one of the most infectious human ailments, that is the common cold. With this particular thing, I will tell you, this is the question. What is the most infectious disease? It is common cold. Okay. They infect the nose and the respiratory passage, but not the lungs. This is again a very important difference between pneumonia and common cold. So in pneumonia we studied that it is affecting the lungs, but over here it is not affecting the lungs but just the nose and the respiratory passage which is there. Please remember, this is again something very much important. The common cold is characterized by nasal congestion, discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, cough, headache and tiredness, etc., which usually lasts for 3 to 7 days. How can you remember it? Nasal congestion is there. When you have nasal congestion, obviously there are high chances when your nose is blocked, you start to breathe with your mouth, and at this point of time your throat and everything becomes dry, leading to sore throat, and also it will be hoarse. And then since you have nasal congestion, you could have cough as well and headache as well. So there are a lot of things, all of them together, and then if you have all this thing, you will be obviously tired, and discharge is also there. Obviously in cold, in cold you don't have to remember all these symptoms. You just think of yourself, whenever you have cold, what all symptoms do you have? This is common for all. That is why it is known as common cold. Everyone has it. Okay, so it usually lasts for 3 to 7 days. Please remember that as well. Droplets resulting from the cough or sneeze of an infected person are either inhaled directly or transmitted through the contaminated objects such as pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer, keyboard or mouse, etc. So again, as I said, it is spread through different people with the same thing, just like how pneumonia was spread through aerosols or by the contaminated things. Now let's write it. What is a causative agent, children? It can be a group of viruses. Group of viruses known as rhinoviruses. Rhinoviruses. Okay, spread through aerosols and contaminated things. Affected organ or the area is nose and respiratory tract. Agree? Symptoms, all the symptoms that you remember. Okay, nasal discharge, nasal congestion, sore throat, tiredness, everything in there. I'm not writing it over there because it's very common. Okay, and it's not very much important, but what is important? It is the most infectious disease. Okay, and what is also important, it is affecting nose and respiratory system, but not the lungs. And this is the difference between pneumonia and common cold as well. Okay, Now, apart from apart from these viral diseases that you studied right now, that is just one, common cold. You have so many of them, and it's easy to remember. They do not have very difficult name. It is dengue virus, it is chikungunya virus, it is HIV, that is human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, and then what is this? Hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is caused by hepatitis B virus. So simple. Why polio is caused by polio virus, mumps is caused by mumps virus, rabies is caused by rabies virus. Chicken pox is not chicken pox. I'm not able to recollect as of now, but it was Zorsella, something like that, I'll tell you. Okay, and then measles is again spread by measles virus. The most important thing that I need you to remember is what problem do they cause, and it's again something that you should be knowing. It's not something that you need to know anyways, but yes, dengue basically goes and affects your immune cells. Okay, chikungunya also the same thing, they affect your immune cells, they have different symptoms. Dengue, if not treated properly, it can have grave result, it could also lead to death. Okay, chikungunya is it's not like that. You might have very severe joint pain, and in the case of dengue you have fever, and then you have your eye orbits will be paining a lot. Orbital region pain. So these are all small things. So you should be knowing, since you are a person who is studying for NEET, you should be knowing about certain diseases. Anyone comes and asks you what happens in dengue, you should be knowing it. Okay, so they are going and affecting the immune cells, which is why all this trouble is caused. Okay, and it is spread. Both of these diseases are spread through Aedes mosquito. Aedes mosquito. Agree? Now, talking about AIDS, HIV, as you know, they are again going to infect your immune cells, and then later on your whole organ system as well. Okay, the same thing you know about AIDS, we will be studying in detail. Hepatitis B mainly affects the liver, but again it can affect the other organs as well. Polio. In the case of polio, basically it affects, as of now I'm not able to recollect, but yeah, it affects your nervous tissues and something like that. But if you talk about mumps, it is affecting your salivary glands. Okay, which is why it could be swollen up here. Okay, rabies again, nervous system. Rabies again, it could affect the nervous system. This could affect the skin and the membranes around it. Same thing with measles also, it could affect the same thing. But at least I think you might have got a basic idea of things. Okay, polio again, it affects your muscles and all. Okay, so that's all, children. And yeah, the name varicella zoster. Okay, that is the name of the chickenpox virus, varicella zoster. So this is how people recollect things. So will you be able to remember all these names? It's very easy. Okay, two of diseases are spread through the mosquito, that is dengue and chikungunya. Okay, now next thing, AIDS and hepatitis B are both sexually transmitted diseases as well, and they are viral diseases. Polio, mumps and rabies is something else. Okay, polio and mumps, let's keep it together. Rabies is something else, which is spread by bite of an animal or things like that. Chickenpox and measles, they have red spots, they have other spots, so you can remember like that. So at least you might have a basic idea of what are the viral diseases. You should be having the basic idea of what are the viral diseases and what are the bacterial diseases. Okay, so under bacterial disease, when I spoke there, it was very important to know the name of the bacteria. Over here the names are very much simple, there is nothing to remember except chickenpox. Again, this has never come, so yes, that's not a problem for you guys to remember it. Okay, I hope it's done. So now let's solve the PYQ. Common cold differs from pneumonia in that pneumonia is communicable disease, whereas the common cold is a nutritional deficiency disease. Is it like that? No, it is not a nutritional deficiency disease. It's a communicable and the most infectious disease. Pneumonia can be prevented by a live attenuated bacterial vaccine, whereas common cold has no effective vaccine. No, children. It's not like that. You can get pneumonia anytime. Okay, pneumonia is caused by a virus, while the common cold is caused by the bacterium Haemophilus influenzae. No, Haemophilus influenzae is the bacteria that causes pneumonia. It's wrong. Pneumonia pathogen infects alveoli, whereas the common cold affects nose and respiratory passage but not the lungs. This is the correct answer. This came in the year 2012. If you got your answer correct, give yourself +4 marks. Going ahead, some extra questions for you which have not come in the question paper until now. Pneumonia is caused by, you tell me. We studied this. Streptococcus pneumoniae. Yeah. Over here it is not Staphylococcus, it's Strepto. I don't know why did I do that. Ayyo. It is Streptococcus, okay, not Staphylo. Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streps, just remember you need strepsils, then only your throat and all will feel fine if you have pneumonia. You can remember like that. Streptococcus, not Staphylococcus. This is how I remember, this is how I messed up also. But yeah, with this question I remembered everything. So, oh yes. Pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae, pneumococcal pneumonia, Haemophilus influenzae, all of this. So, you are sure of this and this because that is given in your NCERT. If the option is all of this, then obviously go with all of this because that is the correct answer. Obviously, when you have more than 2 correct answers, so it has to be all of this, even if you do not know the third option. Going ahead, pneumonia, I don't know why this question came. Okay, cancelling this out, going ahead. Okay, Protozoan diseases, let's start. So, protozoan diseases, I already completed one, that is malaria. So, I will be just giving you a little talk about that as well. But once after we complete Entamoeba histolytica's life cycle. Okay, so let's see. Entamoeba histolytica is a protozoan parasite. So, we got a protozoan, guys. Protozoans, if you do not know them, I'll tell you. So, there are 5 kingdoms, basically now 6 kingdoms, but yes. Previously, we had 5. One is kingdom Monera, then Protista, then fungi, then plantae, then animalia. We come under animalia kingdom. You might be knowing it. You might have studied in your 11th grade. Now, under protist comes protozoans. Okay, and these protozoans are unicellular. They are made of just a single cell, and they are eukaryote. They have their membrane bound organelles and everything is there. Okay, but they are single celled. So yes, Entamoeba histolytica will be also a single celled organism. It's a protozoan parasite. In the large intestine, where does it go and affect children? In the large intestine of the human, which causes amoebiasis. Amoebiasis is the disease that is being caused, and amoebic dysentery is also known as the same thing only. Okay. Now, symptoms of this disease include constipation, abdominal pain, cramps, stools with excess mucus and blood clots. Now, whenever the term dysentery comes, just understand there will be excess mucus and the blood clots. We just remember, right? We learned about dysentery, bacterial disease. It was causing dysentery has, as I said, have very different reasons. Either it could be caused by bacteria, either it could be caused by protozoans. So, anywhere the thing is common, there will be mucus and blood. Okay. So, symptoms are what? Constipation, abdominal pain, cramped stool with excess mucus and blood clots. Housefly acts as a mechanical carrier. What are the mechanical carriers? Those just carry, they do not get infected with that. Okay, they are just mechanical carrier and serve to transmit the parasite from the fecus of the infected person to food and food products, thereby contaminating them. So, basically again this will be fecal-oral route only. Okay. So, there is a, just imagine, this is the fecus. Yeah, the fecus will be having what, children? It will be having our Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica. Okay. Why is it known as Entamoeba histolytica? And you can remember ENT because it is inside our body. Amoeba because in one stage of its life cycle, it behaves like an amoeba. It has this body shape like that. Okay. And histolytica, histo, the term means tissue. Histo terms means tissue, and lytic as in it is breaking the tissue down. Okay, that is what you mean by lytic, the same thing. Okay. Now, what happens? This is the stool, and on the stool, a little fly comes and sits. Yeah, this fly will slowly move and might be going and sitting on the next thing, which is what? Our noodle soup. So when this particular thing sits on this, and then when we eat the same thing, what will happen, children? We will be infected with the Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, we will be having amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. Now, how it is exactly caused? Let me talk about that. First thing. So over here, when they are in the fecus, they are in the form of cyst. They are in the form of cyst. So can I say that cyst is an infective stage? Yes, I can say that it is an infective stage of this particular organism. Now, when the cyst, basically, as I said, is carried by this guy and comes to our food, we take this food inside our body, and now this will be slowly going into what? Our GI tract, that is what? Gastrointestinal tract. So, I am just writing GI tract, and then it will be reaching our large intestine. But while traveling like this cyst gets broken apart, and now this will be giving out, okay, this will be giving out something that is known as trophozoite. Trophozoite, okay. This trophozoite is something that looks like amoeba, which is why the name came. I'll tell you again, over here it's in the form of cyst. When it comes in our body, okay, so rather than putting an arrow like this, I should be putting an arrow there. Just give me a second. So let's just a second, let's erase everything on the slide and try to draw, because you have to remember it later on, right? So yes, first thing, okay, over here you have the cyst. The cyst will have 4 nuclei within it, okay. The 4 nuclei will be there. I just call it a cyst, and this is the infective stage. And in between this story, there is a carrier. What is the name of the carrier? It is a housefly. So this housefly basically takes this cyst with it, and goes and sits on our food. Okay, so this is our food, and now when the housefly sits on it, this particular cyst is being transferred over here now. Agree? Okay, I will make more cysts so that it is visible to you. So that is microscopic, no one can see it. Okay, now basically what happened, we human beings eat it. We eat it. Oh, yo, just a second. Waste of time. I don't know what happened. Okay. Okay. Now, when we eat it, this particular cyst will travel down. It will go to our stomach. And after the stomach, it will be going to our small intestine as well as what? Our large intestine. Agree? It will be going to our small intestine and also our large intestine. While traveling, this particular cyst which is there, it will now slowly transform into something which is known as, not transform into something, there is some process that is happening which is known as excistation. As in, the cyst, it will only be existing as of now, it will exit this from the cyst form, it will now transform into something which is known as trophozoite. Not transformation exactly, this is breaks open and now trophozoites are being formed over here. So now what do we have? We have trophozoites which goes and affects the large intestine, gets in the membrane of the large intestine, causes huge lot of trouble. What happens? Basically abdominal pain will be happening, constipation will be happening, cramps will be happening, there will be stool with excess mucus as well as blood clots. Now please remember the trophozoite stage which is there, trophozoite stage which is there, that is a motile stage which is moving around in the body causing all the trouble, and then later on it will again form what? The cyst. Now this cyst again moves out of our body and the same cycle gets repeated again and again and again. Again, if you wash your hands properly and do not let flies sit on that, you won't be having this particular disease. So this can be also spread through contaminated water. As you know, if the same thing, it is there, for example, some water area is there and the same fecus goes and gets affected and we drink the water, same thing can happen to us as well. Okay, drinking water and the food contaminated by the fecal matter are the main source of infection. Same thing that I said. Okay, so apart from remembering the housefly that is there, you have to remember this also. This is a chance, but this could also happen. Okay, will you be able to remember it? Okay, let's write the name of the causative agent and everything. Causative agent is Entamoeba, ENT, amoeba, histolytica, spread through contaminated food and water. Housefly is the mechanical carrier. Affected organ is mainly our large intestine. And the symptoms could be abdominal pain. Okay, let's start with constipation first. Okay, so first thing, constipation, and then what? If constipation is there, abdominal pain will also be there. Okay, apart from that, what was there? Pain and cramps. Yes, pain, cramps, and then dysentery. Dysentery means stool with mucus and blood. Done? Will you be able to remember it? And what does it cause? Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. Okay, and it is a protozoan disease. Also, one more thing, what was it? I forgot. Yeah. Okay, there is a cyst stage which is infective. And there is what? Trophozoite, which stays inside our body and causes the ruckus. Agree? Going ahead with the last example that we have of protozoan disease, that is the Plasmodium. We already discussed about this, so I will be very quick over here. Okay, so if you want to see the detailed video of it, you can watch just the previous video. It will be really helpful. I don't want to make the video really long and make you tired. So yes, Plasmodium is the protozoan that causes malaria, but who is getting framed? Anopheles mosquito is usually getting framed. So Anopheles mosquito's salivary gland will be having the parasite stage, which is known as sporozoite. Okay, so in the salivary gland of the Anopheles mosquito, there is sporozoite. This sporozoite, when the Anopheles mosquito bite the human body, okay, they give out the saliva, they do not give the blood, okay, they give the saliva, and through the saliva, sporozoites will be now entering the human body. In the human body, by the blood, they will be going to the liver. That is the first camp. The terrorist is the sporozoites and the whole Plasmodium thingy. It goes and stays in the first camp. In the liver, they will be affecting the liver cell, that is hepatocyte. Inside the hepatocytes, they will just undergo rapid division, asexual reproduction, and form more hepatocytes. And then not more hepatocytes, basically when they increase the number, the hepatocyte itself will get lysed, it will break open. Now when it gets break open, what will happen? There will be so many sporozoites, not sporozoites exactly, there will be different stage of it. But yes, you can remember, one stage of Plasmodium, it will slowly move to the next camp, that is the blood. Now inside the blood, what do we have? We have the RBC. In the RBC, the same thing happens. When the RBC gets lysed off, there is one thing that gets released, which is a major problem, which is hemozoin. What is it? Hemozoin is the malarial pigment. How does hemozoin come? So basically, these Plasmodium, when they feed into RBC, when they feed the RBC, they are actually feeding the hemoglobin. Now when they are feeding hemoglobin, when they break down hemoglobin into heme and globin. The free heme which is there, these are two proteins which makes up the hemoglobin, okay, heme and globin. Now this free heme which is there, it is very toxic for the Plasmodium. So Plasmodium will be like, I have to change I have to do something over here. So this particular heme is being transformed to hemozoin, which is less toxic for this particular Plasmodium. Okay, and this obviously everything happens in the RBC, but when RBC gets lysed, all of this thing gets released. Now when hemozoin as well as the other plasmodium, different stages of plasmodium is being released, at this point of time our body senses that this is something wrong, we have to do something of it, and that's when it causes fever and chills. Okay, so because of hemozoin as well as the blood cells which are being, as well as the pathogens which are being there, now when they are exposed to the blood, okay, to the white blood cells, it will cause fever and chills, because during fever our body's temperature increases. When our body's temperature increases, it will kill down all the pathogen in there, which is why we have fever. Okay, so apart from the RBC getting lysed, there is one more thing that is happening. When they undergo asexual reproduction, here gametocytes are being formed. Okay, they are increasing the number, but they are forming something that is known as gametocytes. So gametocytes are something that could later form gametes. Okay, later in their life they could form gametes, but as of now in the human body they are in the gametocyte form. Okay, they are not forming gametes there, they are not undergoing sexual reproduction there. Now what happens when the mosquito comes and bites this? It's in the blood, right? It takes in the blood which has the gametocytes. Yeah. Now in the mosquito's gut, the blood goes to the mosquito's gut, and inside the gut of the mosquito, the gametocytes will be giving rise to gametes. Agree? There will be so many gametes being formed. Now these gametes will fuse together to form zygote. This zygote will be transforming into something that is motile, and this motile structure that you see over here, this motile structure that is there, it is known as ookinete. Ookinete will slowly get inside the walls of the gut, and there it will transform into oocyst, and now oocyst, when it breaks open, it will give sporozoites. It's all happening near the gut region. These sporozoites will slowly move towards the salivary gland of the mosquito. Again the mosquito will bite a human being, and the same cycle gets repeated. So I know that I made a very quick thing over here, but I want you to have patience and go see that particular video, understand it in your own pace. Over here I didn't want to lengthen on something which I have already taught, because as you know we just have few days left, so we cannot waste any bit of time, right? So this is the life cycle of Plasmodium, which is also a protozoan disease. So you have two protozoan disease children. One is amoebic dysentery and the other one is what? Malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium, that is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, stool with excess of mucus and blood clots is known as, tell me. Stool with excess mucus and blood clots will be known as dysentery. Okay. Okay, match the following disease with the causative organism and select the correct option. Tell me. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Pneumonia is caused by Haemophilus influenzae. Filariasis we didn't learn as of now, but malaria you know, malaria is caused by Plasmodium. So A for 3, okay, B for 4, C for 1, okay, Vicariaria, and malaria is caused by Plasmodium. So this is the correct answer. This came in NEET 2020. Very much scoring part, right? Now, match, same thing. I don't know why I'm repeating the same. Okay, over here the question is there. We have solved this. Identify the correct pair representing the causative agent of typhoid fever and confirmatory test of typhoid. It is Salmonella that causes typhoid, and it is Vidal test, which is a test for it. Which are the following sets of diseases caused by bacteria? So for bacteria you have cholera and tetanus. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae and tetanus is caused by Clostridium tetani. Rest all of them have something in. Smallpox is a virus, mumps is virus, herpes is virus. So basically, okay, and influenza also, okay, fine. Anyways, the answer is what? Cholera and tetanus. Going ahead, match the following disease with the causative organism we just studied as of now. Typhoid with Salmonella, pneumonia with Haemophilus, malaria with Plasmodium. We get the answer to be B. Okay. Common cold differs from pneumonia because pneumonia pathogen infects the alveoli, whereas common cold it will be affecting the nose and the respiratory tract, but not the lungs. Match the disease in column 1 with appropriate items in column 2. So this was a question. I don't know why it didn't get reflected there. So children, diphtheria, you know DPT vaccine. Diphtheria, I told you there is DPT vaccine. Now I told you, right, the questions do come from this topic. Okay, so B is for 3. Let's see B, from which one B has 3. This one. We easily got the answer like this itself, even after not knowing a lot of things. Okay, anyways, let's see other portions also. Amoebiasis for 2. Use only sterilized food and water. You know how much it is important. Cholera is also spread like that only, but again there is something that is given. Use oral rehydration therapy, because in cholera it's rice water stool that is being released. So obviously we need more amount of water, so cholera with 4. Syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum, and this we studied in reproductive health chapter. I want you to study this particular chapter really very well. It's a very small chapter. Why to lose your basically certain marks because of these things? So these are the 5 questions that I gave you. Now, one question that I am assigning you children is this. Sustained high fever 39 degree to 40 degrees Celsius and intestinal perforation in severe cases is a symptom of which disease? Malaria, typhoid, cholera, common cold. This is a very easy question, and I hope that you are able to answer this. See you in the comment section. Please put down the comments so that I will get to know that who all is listening to the lecture till the end, and are you able to understand anything or not. So with this, children, we are ending this particular class. In the next class, I'll be talking about fungal diseases and helminthic diseases, okay, and also certain precautionary measures that you have to take to avoid getting any disease. Yeah, so that's all. I hope that this class was helpful for you. If you liked the class, your appreciation also matters to us. To definitely put down in the comment section or come in live and say that, okay ma'am, it's nice to see you over here and all. So we will also be definitely happy, and I want you all to stay focused on what you're doing, that is studying. Stay focused on studying, be consistent with what you're doing. You are going to ace. So that's all. Subscribe to our channel, and also if you want the PDF, join us on WhatsApp. That's all. Bye bye. Take care.